Thank you.
Mayor Fratelli?
Here.
Mr. Bontempo?
Here.
Mr. Hines is not present. Mr. Nicholas is not present. Dr. Vespucci?
Here.
Thank you, Wendy. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the March 27th public session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bontempo?
Here. Yes.
Dr. Vespucci?
Yes.
Mayor Fratelli?
Yes.
Thank you.
Consent agenda, items A through J. Can I get a motion?
Mr. Mayor, may I interject a second? I'd like to pull item J for a separate vote.
Sure. I'll second that.
So I guess that would be a motion on 7A through I.
Yes. I need a motion on items 7A through 7I.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Dr. Vespucci?
Yes.
Mayor Fratelli?
Yes. Let's speak about item 7J. Rocco?
My concern is it was kind of like two separate things we voted on combined together. I was for one of them, not for another one, because I wanted all township property to be looked at for the turf field. A certain property was exempt. So I just want to go on the record that I still feel that way. But I do think these studies need to be done. I do think we need to go ahead for recreation. But I do not like that one place was excluded. But I will vote for this because I think it is important to go through. But I wanted on the record to know that I do think all the township land should have been included.
Understood. So we have a motion to move items 7J.
I'll move.
Roll call. Second. Roll call.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Dr. Vespucci?
Yes.
Mayor Fratelli?
Yes. Item 9, hearings on ordinances. Wendy?
2008-08, ordinance amending Chapter 7 Traffic, Article 18-3, sewer rental and use charges, subsection 18-3.2, charges and rentals of the revised general ordinances of the Township of Holmdel, Monmouth County, New Jersey. This ordinance was published in the Asbury Park Press, posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, and copies have been made available through the clerk's office and on the table in the rear of the room.
Thank you, Wendy. Mike?
Sure, Mayor. This ordinance just addresses a minor issue in the township sewer ordinance with respect to how sewer flow is calculated. It has a definition for motels, but not hotels, so this will clear up that inconsistency.
I'm going to open it to public comment on this ordinance. Anyone from the public like to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public and entertain a motion. Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Dr. Vespucci?
Yes.
Mayor Fratelli?
Yes. We are going to skip item 9B in anticipation that Mr. Nicholas will be here shortly. Hopefully come back to that before the end of the evening. We'll move on to item 10, departments. Anything from our CFO?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Professional reports, Mike?
No report tonight, Mayor.
Fine, engineering?
I just have one more of an announcement for the governing body and the public. The plans for Middletown Road were sent to the DOT for approval. We're hoping to get their approval in the next few days, and subject to getting their approval, we hope to advertise it in around the 11th of this month, and so that we can award at the June 26th Township Committee meeting. Construction can start in July, and we hope to be substantially complete sometime in early September.
Very good. Thank you, buddy. Anything from our boards or committees? Greg?
Okay, you guys share mine. Share. Sorry.
Please.
So last night, I attended a JCP&L meeting that the sheriff in Monmouth County ran with all the OEM coordinators, OEM of Monmouth County, OEM of all the towns were invited. The purpose of the session was JCP&L is putting some practices together to better communicate to towns with various outages occurring. We seem to be getting our fair share this year, and how better to coordinate and communicate. One thing that they made very clear is that their first order of work, once a storm hits and passes, when they get their crews out, is to clear roads. So when 53 towns in Monmouth County, each calling their designated representative, was causing a lot of confusion for the road crews about where to go first and prioritizing. So a process that they are putting in place is that this will be funneled through OEM. So each town will provide a list of impacted areas. This excludes critical areas like the hospital in town, and making sure the roads are there. This is over and above that. Hospitals on the top of the list, obviously, as we're getting first responders out of their various buildings. But now the county's going to coordinate and give them a list that they're going to work on in a priority. So it's interesting to me that it wasn't done that way in the past. It was pretty scattered in how they responded to storms and not really concisely. But now, based on all the attention that they're getting from their various negativity that JCP&L has brought to themselves with the project they tried to push through Holmdel, that the storm is now continuing to cause them a lot of angst. So there's going to be multiple meetings going forward. This was one of many they're going to be holding, coordinated by the county. And as I continue to attend more meetings, I'll continue to provide updates to the community. But it's kind of I see it as a good sketch of a plan. It's a work in progress, and they're soliciting feedback from the OEM coordinator. So I attended. Our police captain was there, along with our OEM coordinator, Detective Fernando, and one of the OEM representatives that work with detectives. So we had good representation there. We're involved in the plan, providing input and feedback to them. So we're hoping that this plan will provide quicker results, better results. And something else they explain, which I think is important to relay to the community, because this was fairly new to me. The Board of Public Utilities controls all the utilities in town. But the Board of Public Utilities mandates that once a storm hits, JCP&L and all the utilities have 48 hours to do a GTR, which is the global time to repair. 95% of the affected areas. So it may come back that of the storm that went through Monmouth County, they have 400,000 people that are out of power. Their plan, they're saying, okay, it's now Tuesday afternoon, by Friday midnight, we'll be at 95% GTR. They said it is critical, because we don't have smart meters in New Jersey, that people continue to report if their home is out of service, because they don't know, right? There could be areas where, parts of Holmdel was out and other parts are fine, and then there's a cul-de-sac here or there that had a tree come down and knock out a line. Their neighbors across the street look fine, but they're not. They don't know the specifics. So they're trying to provide intel to the community, and somehow we'll start communicating this out, is that everybody really needs to report the outage so they know specifically sites that are out and which ones. So when they come back and say, okay, it's now Friday, we hit our milestone, 95%. Hopefully you're in that 95%, but 5% aren't going to be in there. And then they continue to work from there. So it is they're recommending that everybody download the app on their smartphone, because that's the best way to alert them that you're out. And we're going to be getting some documentation, which we'll post on the website, so we'll continue to communicate this message out. But it was interesting and really understand the importance of people reporting their outages. So that's it, Mayor.
Thank you, Greg. Rocco, anything, please?
The township administrator and I met with Dr. Harry Carter, our fire guru. He's already has substantial data on the town, where data was sent to him. He will complete his evaluation by December 1st or earlier. He will make an unbiased recommendation as to how he thinks we can improve our fire protection. So that's on and running. He will be talking to a lot of different people, and we'll get the report back to you as soon as we get it with his recommendation.
Thank you, Rob. Mike, anything?
Nothing at this time, Mr. Mayor.
So I'm going to loop back to item 9B. Wendy?
Bond ordinance 2018-9 to authorize the making of various public improvements and the technology and telecommunications equipment, new communication and signal systems equipment, new additional furnishings, and new automotive vehicles, including original apparatus and equipment in, by, and for the Township of Holmdel in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $4,181,650 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. This ordinance was published in the Asbury Park Press, posted on the bulletin board in Town Hall, and copies have been made available through the clerk's office on the table in the rear of the room. You're welcome.
I'm going to open it up for public comment on this ordinance. Anyone from the public care to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and entertain a motion.
Move.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Nicholas?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I can't emphasize how important this piece of legislation is as a first responder. I deal firsthand with our backwards communication system sometimes, and when it rains, it's difficult to communicate with our dispatchers and the rest of either fire or police. And having been involved with the technicalities and particulars that go into this ordinance and the communications, it is it's long overdue, and thank you, yes.
Dr. Pascucci?
Yes.
Mr. Bontempo?
Yes.
Mayor Patelli?
Yes. Item 10, any new business from the committee? Okay. I will open it up for public comment.
Kathy Weber for Duncan Drive, Holmdel. I just have a couple of things that are kind of different in a way, but related. They're relative to cross farm and pedestrian and bicyclist safety. So I ride my bike over there almost on a daily basis, and the last week or two was attempting to cross 520 in the crosswalk, and I know that's a county road and I've been working with it, but there is a crosswalk there, and a Holmdel police officer blew by me. I reported it. The sergeant got back to me and notified me that the officer was in error and self-reported, and assured me they would write it up. I said, okay. It was really upsetting and kind of scary because he actually accelerated through the crosswalk and basically said he didn't even see me. So my concern is as follows. I'm an adult and I was able to step back, but children cross there, people are crossing there with strollers. We need one of the flashing lights like they have at down by CBA. We can't wait for somebody to be killed there. So I have put a call into the county transportation office. I'm trading phone calls with them. I don't even have the right person yet, but whoever liaisons with them, please, please try to make this a priority before somebody is killed. Because that's what happened just down the road, and it's the same road, right? The other related piece to that is that Cross Road itself is a Holmdel road, correct?
Correct.
It is worse than Middletown Road in terms of the potholes and the condition, because when the rains caused the park walking path to flood, I said, I'll just ride my bike on the road. I literally had to ride in the middle of the road to not be hitting constant potholes. Like, it's not even like you could dodge them. So if that could be on your list somewhere, that would be greatly appreciated. And then the third related item, I'm going to ask for assistance from my sports friends, and that is at Cross Farm itself. The paths around there are suitable for biking, and there are crosswalks in the parking lot, and I recently was crossing the parking lot, and again, looking and waiting and watching when a parent in an SUV blew right by me, and I had windows down. I was like, whoa, and he yelled back at me like I had no right to be in the crosswalk. And it's like, excuse me, that could have been a little kid on their bike. I really would, this is something that came up in the survey, is interest in bike lanes and bike safety and pedestrian safety, and I would really like to see that become a higher priority.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
Help me out with that.
Help, you too. Robert Mezzi, no gun at 434 Alpine Street. Help. Dr. Thatcher, the procedure didn't work too well. I'm not going to get the other one. Thank you. I want to talk about PNC Arts Center. Albert Rea calls me ugly. Ugly, sir, Mr. Rea. And the Weiss, Mr. and Mrs. Weiss. And there's three other guys that give me a hard time. 4 were Cookie Santiago. She couldn't care less. I complained. Matter of fact, they had a good concert there last week. They had Frankie Avalon and the Beach Blanket movies. I love the music. I didn't go. Mr. Mezzi didn't go. It's nice to go see him because he always talks about his hair. And they had the doo-wop with Cousin Brucey. Oh, Cousin Brucey, he always has a security state trooper with him all the time. Mr. Mezzi complains about the rats when I'm getting there, complaining about Cookie Santiago, the guy that calls me ugly, Albert Rea, and Mr. and Mrs. Weiss, not too nice, and two other people ain't too nice to me. He gets the protection. I'm born and raised in Perth Amboy, Jersey, all my life. This guy's from New York. He comes and he gets all kinds of protection, all the time. I don't get nothing. I'm like our poor President Trump. He's getting picked on continuously like me. Now, the hot shots, the basketball players, whoever was, we're not going to the White House. We're not going. How about you, the white people? Don't go watch them play. Like I don't watch the pro football. I don't have nothing to do with them. I wouldn't watch them. I was curious this year because I got the 5 new quarterbacks, but I'm gonna stay away. I'm not gonna watch it at all. And what about people in you too? Help! Go watch the football. How much abuse you guys gonna take? Everybody's got the minorities. They stick together, but the Caucasians never. You ever hear a minority criticizing another minority, or a person of color criticizing a person of color? I never heard it. But the Caucasians, They're good doing that. They're very good doing that. That's all they have to do, is just let us destroy ourselves and they'll take over or do whatever they want to do.
Thank you, sir, for your comments tonight.
Okay, anybody, I want to thank you, Dr. Rocco, for trying to help me. Help.
Thank you.
All right, good
Thank
night.
you. Anyone else in the public?
Hi, Joy Luciani, 10 Country Squire Lane in Holmdel. I'm very disappointed about the results of the scientific survey that was held recently and went out to all the residents. It cost $55,000, and I just feel like the results were thrown to the side. I'm glad people feel that they can come up to you, that there's open communication, that you're visible and they can talk to you. However, I see their emails and their contact with you given like an equal priority almost to the survey. And I feel like our survey was done for nothing. So that's very, very disappointing. And I just don't understand a lot of what's going on. Like, for example, the indoor recreation center. I watched the YouTube for the meetings, and someone asked something like, is this just for Holmdel? But it seemed like everybody said this was a preview. Now, usually when you go to construct something, or even a superintendent who takes a new job, before he enters the school district, he has a vision of what he wants for that township, for the school district. But, so I would like to know, what is your vision? Apparently the other person's question wasn't answered. It was just a preview. What is the vision for this indoor recreation center? Is it going to be for other people from out of town? What is the vision? What is your hope for this?
So the multi-purpose indoor facility is to accommodate all sports, right? We live in the Northeast. We have a lot of times when we have inclement weather. The purpose of the engineering is to see, based on the land we have available, the land available to use, what size facility could be built. So it's hard to determine what's going to be inside until we get the specifics from the engineer. The engineers, if you watch YouTube video, I said last meeting that we use engineers that have done this type of work in other towns, counties, and also universities throughout the tri-state area. So this is the normal process to go through. When they come, I also said when they come back with their findings, hopefully end of June, early July, we'll make them public and share exactly what we could potentially build at a location on township property.
Okay, but in looking at all of this and hoping to have something like this, regardless of the survey results, which were not for additional recreational facilities.
No, they were. That was one of the top 3 items was an indoor recreational facility.
Thank you. So what is the vision? People must have some kind of vision for this because they're thinking about it. What is the vision for this?
In indoor sports. Sports you play indoors.
For just Holmdel residents? Or
It's going to be run by the Holmdel Recreation Department.
But for other sports facilities to use it? If it's run by them, are other sports facilities going to use it too from out of town?
No. It's
Primarily, it's all for the people of Holmdel.
the
So it's not
Holmdel.
going to be for outside teams to come in and use, or adult teams or anything like that? It's for the kids and adults of Holmdel?
You done? The Holmdel Recreation Department is going to run it. They have guidelines that they follow that are going to be set by us, and it's for the residents of Holmdel.
Okay, great, I just asked.
Okay, your time's up.
Oh, firehouse.
We
We have time for firehouse?
We're doing a public study, we're doing a study on that.
Can I just mention one thing?
Quick.
Is there any way you can cut costs by going in with Goldstein? Going into some kind of agreement with them? So you don't have
That's already being, it's a good point, but that's already part of it. So
Oh,
there's a
great.
lot of things, so thank you, but that's already part of it. That's already been discussed, and again, we turned it over to another professional.
Okay.
That's part of it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments from the public tonight? Seeing none, whoops, spoke too soon. Yes.
Hi, good evening. Kim Silverman, 25 Eli Road. I'm not looking for any response. I just want to voice my disappointment in the Holmdel Republican Party. I ran in District 4 for County Committee. I've never done something like this before in my life. I'm a full-time working mom. Just got off the plane maybe 2 hours ago. So I have a life just like everybody else. I just am looking to make some positive change. People in the county committee have been around for a long time. I just want to throw my hat in my name in the hat. The negativity and the bashing of what has gone on in social media, letters, you know, maybe I'm just very naive to politics, but like I said, I'm a mom, I live in a town, I just want good things to happen. I didn't go out bashing anybody. I just put my name in there, I talked to some of my friends, and I just wanted positive change. And I just think it's really embarrassing and disgusting the way that behaviors have been. And I'm happy that there are some new people that are now going to be on that committee, and hopefully those people, along with the existing county committee, can make a change. But I just think as a party itself, you should be very embarrassed by your behavior.
Thank you for stepping up. Thank you for developing it. And thank you for speaking your voice. Thank you.
Ditto.
No, there's no need to comment. Next, anyone else from the comment? Yes, Barbara.
Barbara Singer, 5 Deerfield Road. I don't even know who just spoke, but I did have to field a lot of phone calls based on information and letters that went out in this primary from the Republican Party or your people who were running. And it was very time consuming for me to clear up a lot of just misinformation and basic lies that were out there, which people don't know because they're not here every week. But the twisting was beyond our normal political stuff. But that was not why I came up here. I came up here with some other questions. I had asked questions previously about the library and the funding for it. I have one question. I know Somerset is giving $50,000 a month toward their $1 million. What? Oh, not month. A year. Sorry.
You can make it for a month.
There's interest on that bond though, so that's something that we would be paying the interest on that bond. Okay.
Yes.
And regarding the Holmdel Library Foundation and the fundraiser that was held at Bell Works, I was told they're a separate, the foundation is a separate and independent organization from the township, but we were previously told that by the township committee here that some type of group organization would be set up for fundraising so that this would be a free library or nearly free to the residents of Holmdel. Is that Holmdel Library Foundation the one organization that was set up?
That organization was not set up by the township, it was set up by independent residents. I think we've discussed that in the past.
Okay, but that would be the one, there's no other one that
It's the only
anybody,
one I'm
okay,
aware of,
okay,
yes.
so that's the one. So I looked up that organization, their main address is 4 Crawford's Corner Road. I believe that's this building.
Right.
So you're saying it's independent, it was set up by independent residents who authorized them to utilize township address for their private purposes.
That was the old library address, so maybe they used that as a mailing address for them. You'd have to check.
I've set up a few things in my life. I never chose to just use the library address
Just for that.
randomly. That's a little random.
Okay, thank you.
So not a thank you, but somewhere down the line, I want to know why that was being done and who authorized the use of our property and address for these purposes. Also, I looked up to see who the trustees were, being that this is an independent organization to which nobody seems to be able to give me answers on. And it's Anne-Marie Bontempo as a trustee. Marcy Mullen, who is the Republican, Holmdel Republican chair. Fred Bauer from Denville, outside of Holmdel, not sure who he is, why he's a trustee, very important position there. And then a Lou Presti from Grandview Drive, another, I guess, neighbor of the Bone Temples. So this doesn't seem very independently run to me. So I'm really not appreciative of getting the runaround here when I'm asking questions about this foundation.
Barbara, I don't think there's any runaround. You're referencing a 501c3 that's independent of the township. The township it has nothing to do with the township, so how could the township possibly respond to provide you with information? It's not subject to Oprah. We have absolutely none of the documents here, and I think it's very unfair to try and create this characterization that there's some hide the football going on.
There's a lot of legal niceties you're putting out there. I'm a lawyer. I understand legally it's a separate organization. They're using your address here.
Well,
so
that
I
is
mean,
something
come on.
we'll certainly look into.
Mr. Bontempo's wife is a trustee, so to tell me nobody
You're
has
making lawyers.
information.
But just a quick question, if it's for the library foundation and they're using the library address, why would that be bad?
Because you're using township property,
But it's-
mailing address.
But it's for the library.
Will you let me use it? I have a foundation to set up. There's other people in Holmdel who have
If
set
your
up.
charitable purpose is
charitable
donating to the
foundations.
library, I think that would make, that would be wonderful. if
Well,
you wanted to set
I'm
that
not
up.
buying that. It's a runaround over all this transparency you keep talking about. Speaking of which, where's the $60,000 that was presented here in the big check? Where is that money? Again, everyone's shaking their heads no. Here's the photo, $60,000 check you all stood behind.
And I would-
Where's the money?
And I would say back to the administrator at the last meeting made clear that there was in-kind contributions that were made to the library reflective of the amount. So the money was donated in the form of an in-kind contribution, and obviously.
Okay.
Barbara, you're 3 minutes.
I don't want to, you can't hide behind a 3-minute rule when there's people asking where money is. Come
Yes, I
on.
can.
No, you can't. You can't hide from the rest of the town on this. $22,135 was paid in interest. That probably came from the $50,000 or from our budget. I don't even know. But they did pay $25,000 for design costs outside, Somerset did, outside of the $1 million bond. This check is $60,000. Where is the rest of the money? It's payable to Holmdel Township. Where'd it go?
Barbara, do us a favor, write it down, we'll get you all your
I
answers in
Oprah.
writing.
I already Oprah.
Well, then you'll
I
get
asked
it.
for all the
Then
income and
you
expense.
will
It's not
get it.
there, Dr.
You will
Scucci,
get
I'm
it.
sorry.
Thank you for
We
your
want to know
time.
where's the money.
We
will
will
also,
let you know.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's $60,000.
Thank you.
I also have quotes from Mr. Bontempo after the fundraiser from the Two River Times. I have it printed out here as well, so everybody doesn't have to look confused. About $300,000 being raised from that fundraiser. Where is that money? I was asking all along how much was raised. You guys would never tell me.
It has nothing to do with the township committee, it's a separate organization, set up to raise money independently for the library.
I understand that. So you represented that there was $300,000 raised, so I'm asking you who made that representation, where is the
Am I
money?
on the board?
You made the representation to this entire community.
That's not the question.
It is the question. Where is $300,000 is absolutely the question.
So you don't like the library?
It has nothing to do with
I'm just
that.
curious.
Come on, don't be
No, I'm
little.
not, I'm just asking.
No, don't belittle this, don't belittle me.
I'm not.
$300,000, a $60,000 missing check.
Thanks for delivering
Anyone else
us.
care to speak from the public? Scott?
No problem.
Scott Goldstein, 2030 Swan Drive. I'm kind of confused here. Could you explain what an in-kind contribution is?
I would defer to the administrator's comments at the last meeting, but in that setting, she indicated that the nonprofit organization had completed expenditures that were in favor of the library, specifically purchasing shelving that was then located in the library. So obviously it's an in-kind contribution because that's money that the township then did not need to expend with taxpayer money.
Okay, so in my understanding, so they went out, bought stuff, and donated it, and that counted towards the charitable fundraising that was done for the library.
I certainly can't speak to what they did on the fundraising end. I'm just speaking to what the administrator previously identified at the last meeting, which was that they made a contribution in the form of providing shelving that obviously otherwise would have had to come at taxpayer expense.
And I'd like to also echo on Barbara's point here that Mayor, Township Member Tenable stood up and said about the $300,000 that the fundraising was going to be raised. It'd be nice if we're not giving the dog the pony show. People see through this.
What?
It's becoming a dog and pony show. Smoke and mirrors. Okay?
Thank you for your comment. Any other comments from the public? Christine?
Hello, Christine Schmidt, 26 Apple Grove Drive. I just want to bring your attention to an email that I received yesterday, exactly 2 hours before the polls closed. It was sent from the Holmdel Republican Party, in hiding though, because the...
No, I have to make a statement. We are not the Holmdel Republican Party. We are the Township Committee. You can laugh all you want, so please, we are the Township Committee.
Okay, well, I'm just going to continue because I have the time. So it was sent from some member of your group. You all are part of the Holmdel Republican Party. It was hidden in, the from was Holmdel Parent 1. So they pretended they were this part of the Facebook group, Holmdel Parents, and then they had the gall to not even sign their name. And in the email, they were saying they would never vote for any team associated with Eric Hines, and started listing 4 reasons why they wouldn't. They're acting like Eric is a felon, and it is so distressing to know that people that you guys work with can send an email like this in this town. It's disgraceful. And I will not vote for any team. As Kim said, we are a group of 15 dedicated parents and residents. We love our town. We're not looking to do harm. Enough of recycling candidates and old blood. We need new blood in this town, and I'm glad some of us won, and I want to make a positive change.
I have to make a comment. I know nothing about this letter. It didn't come from me. I don't know who wrote it, and it's embarrassing, and it is incorrect to say it came from a Republican. Do you know who wrote it? I don't. I detest that letter. I did not send it. You have someone that signed it? I didn't send it. I don't know who sent it.
Well,
and either do you.
I have a very clear
idea. Do you know? You're going to testify you know who wrote it? I don't. And I denounced that letter, and I think everyone else here will denounce it too.
Great.
We did not send it.
But your party did.
That doesn't, what party? A person in
Holmdel
Holmdel City did it. You're a citizen. We don't know our party did it. We didn't do it. Sorry.
Please don't shout from the audience. Thank you.
We did not do it. I can speak for them. I did not do it. I detest stuff like that. That's all I can say.
Well then great. So if you have some inkling as to who wrote this,
I
you should
don't.
tell him or her that you detest this kind
I
of
detest it. You
behavior.
can say it in public. I do not know who wrote it. You already spoke.
Okay.
I do not know who wrote it.
Great. If you find out,
I
please
will
let
tell
this
you.
person know how pathetic they are, because I wrote back telling them how pathetic they are.
Christine, I saw it for the first time this morning,
Yeah.
whether you want to believe that or not.
Okay.
I think it was disgusting.
Okay.
And I have some inkling where I have come from, but I don't have any proof. And I honestly don't believe it came from the Republican Party, but that's just my opinion.
Really? Listen.
I'm telling you, I was shocked when I saw it. Truth.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Debbie Brew, 15 Cindy Lane. I'm going to try not to be nasty about this because I am genuinely heartbroken for what the town I grew up in has turned into. And like they said, 15 people, 20 people, 30 people, 80 people. Anybody who wants to volunteer to become instrumental in choosing our leadership or doing any volunteer job in the township should be permitted that. I have lived here my entire life. I never even knew a county committee existed. To me, that's your fault. Nobody's getting educated on this. People got educated on it. They decided to get involved. A lot of letters went out. Robocalls went out that come from somewhere Survey calls went out, emails, letters. It's embarrassing. Pitting neighbors against neighbors, Republicans against Republicans. It is devastatingly sad, and you signed a letter, your wife signed a letter, there were letters signed by people sitting up there, and I know you all know who did it as well as I do. You should be breaking ties with these people because they are poisoning this town.
What letter did I sign?
Mike, I can show you the letter because I have it
No, just- I
screenshotted
signed
on
a
my
letter,
phone.
but what letter did
A
I
letter
sign?
that that was accusatory against Eric and things that have gone on here in the past. And I'm not going to go for your, I'm not sure what it was. I don't want to do it. Between your brilliant live feed and other things that have been going on lately, it is embarrassing to live here right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Anyone else care to comment tonight? Joe?
Joe Crowley, 15 Ely Road. I'd like to thank all members of the Township Committee for the support of the motion at the last meeting to study the turf fields. Appreciate the support. I would like to acknowledge Dr. Pascucci as well. I clearly understood the last time, and he reiterated this time that he was in support of the study for the athletics, that his objection was based on the scope of the fields being investigated, not for that. So I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Pascucci for that. I would also like to get a little more information about what is included in the scope of that activity, if the scope has been set. Specifically, will it address softball and baseball? If the scope has not been set, can we make sure those are included? And I'd also like to get some indication as to, for my own education, if you guys would be willing, what would be the next steps in terms of that study and what kind of time frame we're looking at. And thank you, John.
Thank you. So Joe, we're just going to, we just authorized Mazer tonight to do all the work. So they'll be, hitting the ground running pretty quickly. And I think at our next meeting in 3 weeks, we'll be able to give you a little bit more information and answers to some of those questions.
Thank you very much.
Okay, motion to close public portion?
Move, second.